Alright, y'all, in this video I'm gonna talk about the apparent rise of crime as a result of, dumbasses like Black Lives Matter going out of their way to defund the police. And what anyone with, half of a lobe of a brain would be able to predict as far as the outcome of what that would bring, what that would cause. And the effect that that's had and is having on the most vulnerable of the species, the female. Unless of course you want to talk about kids, I think they're the most vulnerable, but one of the most vulnerable, to say the least, that being females. Now, I don't know what the deal is between me and females, but because here's my thing. I've seen females go out, date, deal with the lowest common denominator of men that society has to offer. I'm talking about toothless motherfuckers, bum motherfuckers, people who, men if you will, whom I would say, not even out of arrogance, just out of observation, that they are just beneath me. But I'm just gonna have to call it, bro. Me and women, we, for whatever reason, we just don't click. We just don't click. And now some people would say, well, the solution providers, if you will, so-called solution providers, they would say, well, if you just dressed a little better, if you talk more, if you went out and dealt with and I'm like, no, enough is enough. We just don't see eye to eye for whatever reason. Because these beta male simp manginas, what they don't understand is that what women are genuinely attracted to, and that at the end of the day being evil men, evil psychopathic men. Women are attracted to these guys. These kind of guys don't have nearly the kind of trouble that most of us have when it comes to getting them and acquiring them. Now, with that said, what that has allowed for me is to be able to acquire and put resources in my pocket. But see, the thing that I'm having trouble understanding is this whole notion that the Western woman, particularly the American woman, has been saying, and it's not lost on me that despite the tensions between the two, that it's Western women altogether, because even I've started to see that white women are basically following the path of black women, which is ironic because it was the white woman who introduced feminism to the black woman. The black woman took feminism, and she was basically on this "I don't need no man" rant. And now it seems that the roles are reversing. That white women are becoming just as, if not even more, insufferable as black women are. At least American women are. American white women, that is. I can't speak for European women because I don't run into a lot of European women. And they've been on this rant and on this tirade of what the strike has been saying, for the past 6 decades or so. I don't need no man. But I'm here to, before I start, let me ask y'all something. Didn't I tell y'all, what did I tell y'all about what a hard head makes? Because when I think back to all the things that I had to endure over the years concerning the female and how it justifies that scripture in the Bible that indeed says, I find more bitter than death the woman. See, I mean, it literally goes back to the talking points of that series that I made, that a hard head indeed makes a soft ass. What did I tell y'all about that? And now we're seeing the fruits of that. Maybe not in this gynocentric state, but in other parts of the country where women are, due to basically throwing their own veil of protection under the bus, and we're seeing more carjackings. And as bad as this is, and as much as I hate to be the bearer of bad news of this, we're seeing, like I said, I'm just witnessing from the comfort of my YouTube channel on my computer here in Colorado, just the savageries that are taking place. Due to the lack of police funding and the fact that don't nobody want to be a cop. So you got understaffed police, and you got criminals running all over the place. And who's the main target? Who is the most vulnerable? Besides children, of course. Women. And I say this in response to Kid Organic's video and Line of MGTOW's video, where have to excuse me, I'm lighting a smoke, or smoking a smoke, smoking a cig. So I'm saying this in light to what Line of MGTOW's brought to my attention, and as well as Organic, definitely Organic's video, but I'm gonna get to that in a minute. So what Line of MGTOW basically pointed out is that there was a woman in Atlanta who had been she had become like a delivery driver. I'm guessing like either Uber or DoorDash or both. And she had been robbed. She had been carjacked. And the goons had the son still in the car. Or the goons drove off with the son still in the car. And they did manage to find the car and find the child. And he's been telling me about, stories like that happening in Atlanta, something similar happening in Fort Worth. You know where niggas live. Because niggas do that. Niggas are savages. I'm at the point in place in my life, I'm tired of taking up for these monkeys. I'm tired of sugarcoating what these monkeys are capable of. But the main story that stood out, and it's actually the first story that I ran into, was this incident that happened somewhere in some city in Pennsylvania. I guess around, it wasn't in Philly, but it was around the Philly area, of some woman who got raped. Oh, excuse me, he got epared. Yeah, I don't want to trigger the algorithm, so instead of saying R-A-P-E, I'm just going to say epared, like Donovan Sharp does. Got fucking epared. Got sexually violated on a train with a whole bunch of passengers on it who didn't do shit. Who didn't do shit. Just stood there, sat there and watched, and didn't even call the damn cops. And I was like, damn, that's low. That's low down right there. And ever since I heard it, because I went to sleep, but I saw it, I just went to sleep. So it kind of, I guess it escaped my my conscience. Then I saw it again, and then it finally dawned on me. I was like, oh, okay. And I've been tripping about it all day, because I was like, damn. And I'm not laughing at the fact that she got epared, not at all. There ain't nothing funny about epar. It's just the fact that them niggas stood there and just watched like a bunch of. Oh, I was like, all day I've just been like, oh my god, niggas really ain't shit. You niggas ain't shit. How y'all gonna stand there and just let this woman get epared like that, get violated like that? I'm like, damn, bro. That was fucked up. That is so fucked up. That's horrible. That is so horrible. However, I can't say I didn't tell you so, no, did I? Because goddamn it, I told you so. Just like David Carroll be saying, damn it, I told you so. And if it's one thing that I cannot stand, sometimes I can't stand being right. Lord knows that. I can't stand being right sometimes. Because, I'm supposed to be, at least according to this society, the voice of a goofball. But I'm actually the voice of reason. I'm actually the voice of truth. And as long as you stick to the truth, you don't ever have to worry about being defeated, and not at least in a verbal debate, at least. Being on code and being in queue with reality allows you that kind of power, because some people like to stick and adhere to bullshit, like these females who think they don't need no man, and they're getting to witness firsthand what not needing no man looks like. Not needing no man gets you carjacked. Now, some of y'all will probably think that I'm just one of these incels who's just sexually frustrated, who just gets on the tube and speaks all my grievances and my frustrations about the fact that females don't fuck with me like that. And I'm here to tell you, there's a simple solution to that. See, the thing where the only gripe that I have. Hold on a minute, y'all. Hold on, give me a sec. I'm trying to light this cig. I just bought some damn lighters too. These motherfuckers already going limp dick on me. Hold on a sec. Y'all give me a minute. Ah, shit. Okay. So the only gripe that I genuinely have is the fact that I know I've been had. You know, having been given just a shitty breed of American women, and I'm supposed to do something with these whores. Because up and down on the tube, you hear stories of both white men and black men dating out. And I don't mean dating outside their race as much as I mean dating outside their nationality. And enjoying way more success than they could ever hope to have with the American female. Her race be damned. Which is one of the main reasons why, you know, this is what being MGTOW is all about, you know, because I know I'm stuck in a country full of shitty, narcissistic, solipsistic females who see men as nothing more than disposable tools who are to be used, abused, disdained, absconded, shunned, and shamed. But when something like this happens, all of a sudden we supposed to give a damn, right? Really? We supposed to care now? To which many of us would just reply, but hold on now. I thought you said you didn't need no man. That's what you said. See, I don't know what it is about the whores of Babylon, the modern day Roman woman, if you will, by which she genuinely thinks that she can do this all by herself when there's millennia of evidence in just about every culture, just about every civilization, that prove that the women of those times were codependent on their men. And of course, you did have matriarchies, of course. But how long did they last? What, 30 years tops? Like Cleopatra's? See, what little I do understand about the female due to society's efforts in making sure that I'm as confused about her as they can possibly have me be, yet wants me to engage with her, all part of the grand scheme of things. One thing that I do understand is that she is naturally rebellious. So much so that to the point that it will cause her own self-destruction. See, you got incels, people who are truly incels, not MGTOW, not red pills, not red pilled men, who in their frustrations, and of course beta males, who in their frustration, because they're dealing with a female who ain't complying with them, or females in general who aren't complying with them, will get out here and do something violent to them, like, shoot up, go to their place of business or go to where they frequent and shoot up the place. And see, I learned a long time ago, and this right here proves my point. It just proves my point. The worst thing that you can do to the opposite sex is not trying to call yourself abusing them or going up to them and shooting them because you the jealous boyfriend, a jealous ex-boyfriend or whatnot. It don't take all that. It don't take you losing your freedom, you losing your life because you done fucked around and killed a bitch. Because either she wasn't fucking with you like that or she cheated on your ass. You don't have to do all that. In fact, you don't have to do none of that. I don't know if I said this before. It sounds like what I'm about to say. I think I've said this. I'm pretty sure I said this in one of my older videos, which are no longer up because I deleted them hoes. But I genuinely and truly believe this. And the fact that what has been happening throughout the country solidifies, it illustrates my point as far as the worst thing that you can do to a female. See, no matter how much she gripes and tries to put on this facade that she don't need no man, that men are just these disposable tools who can just be used and abused and tossed aside, like tossed to the kick by the wayside. Use this nigga for dick, use this nigga for attention, use this nigga for money. In my near 36 years of wisdom on this earth, I've come to learn that there's something much worse that you can do to a female that supersedes doing something violent to her. It supersedes threatening her. It supersedes doing all this goofy beta male shit that you find these goofy beta male cucks doing because they can't get their females to comply with their wayward ass. And what's that, you ask? It's simple. Just leave females to their own devices. Leave them to themselves. In other words, just leave them alone. That's all you have to do. Leave them alone. Women, by their nature, are rebellious. They're infantile. And possibly as a result of the two traits that I just aforementioned, are indeed self-destructive. You leave a woman to her own vices, she'll destroy herself. And if she has kids, she'll destroy them. And you have to ask yourself now, with this incident that happened in Pennsylvania, all them niggas on that train, I can only imagine what the dynamics are in that city, in that, which I believe is it's supposed to be like a suburb of Philly somewhere. What the dynamics are in that town as far as the quality of the females in that city, that would cause the men to literally just stand there and do nothing while this poor lady got epared. What are the dynamics? Well, Kid Organic also pointed out, and he did a live stream about it, that there was this bus that, you know, whose art was actually created by a black woman, ironically enough. Not really. As far as the irony goes, no, actually, knowing what I know about black women, this don't surprise me at all, because again, black women are incorrigible. You can't tell them nothing. Everything they do is perfect and without sin, and they crazy ass world. So even if what they do is perfect and incorrigible, and they crazy ass world involves art regarding basically naked black women with they butt cheeks all out and they coochie showing. Yeah, there's a bus that has that kind of art where you got a bunch of naked black women on there. See, that's called leaving the female to her own vices, where she sets the stage for her, basically her own epared, by which people are looking at her for the old stereotype of that old Hottentot Venus stereotype that she's well known for. Leaving a woman to her own devices will get you something like a Lizzo, who, apparently from what I heard from Angry Man's channel, went to Cardi B's birthday party butt ass naked. See, that's what happens when you leave females alone. When you understand the weaknesses of the female, regardless of where she's from, regardless of whether or not she's a Babylonian female, a narcissistic, entitled, modern day Roman female. Female nature is universal, and that's one thing that they can't divorce themselves from. For all what they can divorce themselves from, as far as making themselves the divas of the world, because they American and that's supposed to mean something, right? And outside these gates, that don't mean jack squat diddly. And surely enough, the perpetrator who did it was indeed a Pookie and Ray Ray, the very savage that these black women raised. One could almost conclude that these creatures, these strags, are indeed the architects of their own destruction. They created these zombie Thuggenstein niggas, and these zombie Thuggenstein niggas would be the very ones who gonna end up taking them out, because they created them to be savages like this. And because men are sick and tired of being sick and tired of being a disposable tool, a disposable praying mantis, see, the worst point that you can get to when you're dealing with somebody is putting them in that catch-22 situation where they're pretty much damned if, and I've stated this, where they're pretty much damned if they do and they're damned if they don't. Because all bets are off after that. They're like, well, hell, once you get a motherfucker to that point where they realize that they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't, they're gonna be like, well, fuck it, I might as well just do. Don't you think? Hold on a minute. In fact, forgive me, these fuckers burn pretty fast. I'm already on my third cig. But I got the fat boy cigs, and then there's just the cherry ones, which are a little skinnier. And I went through that cherry cig, like it didn't take as long to light this one up now. So again, back to my original talking point. I can only imagine the overall mentality of the men who saw that and witnessed it and allowed their wives to see it, and I dare even say the children, which again, they have my sympathy because they had to be up in there and witness that. I'm just thinking all them people on that train, and they got to watch that kind of barbarism, that kind of hedonism. Because usually, even back in the day, criminals had enough sense. If they were gonna epar somebody, as bad as that is, at least they had enough sense to say that shit in the nighttime. That's some shit like where you knock a bitch upside her head, have her discombobulated, then drag her into the alley somewhere and do some shit like that. But these motherfuckers have gotten so bold and brazen. They up here raping. They up here e-parring bitches in broad daylight, in the public. Just imagine she probably looking at somebody looking dead at her, while this savage is up here, thrusting himself into her, screwing her. So not only does she have the shame of being e-parred, she has the shame of having it happen in front of all those people, the public humiliation. And as bad as that is, as terrible as that is, these motherfuckers ain't got my sympathy. There may have been a time when they had my sympathy. But see, as a man in a gynocentric society, as a man in a society that goes out of its way to look out for the female and basically bash and thrash Not necessarily the worst of its men, but believe it or not, the best of its men. You got to look at an incident like that and say, how much sympathy can you actually have for this bitch? And it's not so much that I blame her as much as I do this society, which has basically allowed women to walk all over men. See, it pays to read certain material like Esther Vilar's Manipulated Male. It really does. It's just a way of keeping ahead of, staying ahead of the game, keeping up with the game, so that you ain't up here wasting your time trying to talk to a bunch of females who look at you as nothing more than a disposable damn tool. Again, to be used, abused, and shunned and hated for simply having male genitalia. Due to their own incompleteness, if you will. Due to the fact that a lot of them indeed hate the fact that they know, and I know deep down they know, that they are codependent of us, meaning that without us they'll literally die if they don't end up fucking around and getting epared or getting attacked, getting killed while getting robbed. See, a lot of these females are in open defiance, not only against the Most High, but they're in open defiance against nature itself. Because again, you look throughout the animal kingdom, you ain't gonna see no single parent lionesses with their cubs, because unless something of course happened to the male lion, which does happen. But you ain't gonna see that at the beginning, where, say a male lion and a female lion mate, have some kids, and the male lion just fuck off somewhere. You ain't gonna see nothing like that. You're gonna see, even in the animal kingdom, you're gonna see females, even with their proclivities, their proclivities to look at their male suitors as disposable, because it happens. Just look at the praying mantis, look at the black widow, and what they do to the male suitors. In fact, the black widow, and maybe even the female praying mantis, might be the only creatures that you see in nature that really don't need no male suitor like that. They just need them for one thing and one thing only: to procreate. And while they procreating with them, they're cannibalizing them. But again, when you have a society like this that allows women to get as far, to get away with what they've gotten away with, and now that a lot of them are exposed, a lot of them are vulnerable, like Lina Mixhouse said, a lot of them are uncovered, don't have the veil of the protection of a man in their life. A man to whom they are submissive, to whom they are subservient, to whom they are feminine. And actually genuinely understand their role in that relationship. This is what you get. This is the kind of chaos that comes with being away from the veil of the protection of a man. This is exactly what happened. And you would think we would look at something like this and be like, duh. You would think that, right? Now, unbeknownst to the Denverites, because I know they got their little thing going, but what these heifers don't seem to understand is that I'm already used to, dealing with a society whose females got this little manipulative tactic of playing hard to get. Because that's all it is. It's manipulation. Just one of many of their little manipulative tactics. And I have to say, even though every blue moon I'll engage, I'll see a female that, I got a thing for, and I'll make an effort. For the most part, I just sit back in the cut and just observe. I just observe the mating strategies. I would say dating strategies, but I haven't seen nobody on a date or just dating like that. And I pay attention to the females who got dudes versus the ones who don't. And they don't. And how they react, how they act, how they react towards me when I'm in the building. Mind you now, I ain't stepping to them. I ain't fucking with them. But they up here looking at me like I'm finna do that. And, it's really a telltale sign that you ain't got no guise of protection. Otherwise, you wouldn't be studying my black ass. You wouldn't have time to. See, this very same society went out of its way to make us a bunch of social retards. That's how I see all of this. And with me getting more souped up on certain social cues, if you will, for lack of better words. I know there's a better way of saying that. I don't know if it's trends or, just being, just keeping up with the Joneses, if you will. With them having done that, and with me reaching the age that I have and having accomplished the things that I've accomplished and getting and positioning myself to accomplish even more greater things, I look at a society like this and I say, these fucking people don't deserve me. They don't deserve my skills, my talents, my resources, nor my guise of protection. They don't deserve that shit. Because even with me making it abundantly clear that, I don't know how to say this without sounding arrogant, but basically I'm that dude. The fact that I don't have a wife or kids means I'm that dude. And I'm positioning myself, and I don't have the 6-figure career yet, but you have to understand, they don't want your ass when you ain't got it. They only want you when you already at the end of the finish line. Now you got the 6-figure career. Now they want you on some beta buck shit. Now that they done fucked all that little alphas and whatnot, now they coming looking for your ass. And I honestly expect you to show up, to be there, to take them in. I'm like, really? I mean, that's how this works? But I'm willing to bet that the men on that bus, just based on the fact that they literally stood there and watched as this lady got epared, these motherfuckers will probably burn the fuck out, sick and tired of all the bullshit that the females of that city have to offer, which is probably why they stood by and didn't do shit. Didn't even call the cops. Because I looked at that, I was like, well, damn. I don't know if I would have gotten involved, but I would have at least called the cops. I would have did that much. I'm like, bitch, I'm giving you a solid. I'm calling the cops because I don't want to see nobody get raped or epared. I don't want to see nobody get epared like that. Especially on no train somewhere. Do that in the back alley somewhere. I mean, some damn. This is exact, and again, it also goes back to my my video of why I don't fuck with y'all like that. Growing up, I knew it was something wrong with the mind of this Negro. And surely enough, the savage is my age. He's 35, even though I'll be 36 in a few weeks. But, you know, he's in my age bracket. And I'm like, well, there you go. You're quintessential, typical, Similac drinking crack baby. 80s crack baby. And like growing up, I always said to myself, I know for a fact, even though I can't put my fingers on it, even though I don't know the behind the scenes story of these motherfuckers, it's something wrong with these. It's just something wrong with these motherfuckers. And when you in a society like Memphis where being a goon is the norm, being in and out of jail is the norm, you kind of have to make a choice. And it was you have to make a choice of either being ostracized and being seen as the weirdo and the nerd and this and that, or being one of the popular kids. But the problem is, the popular kids are the niggas that are locked up at 201, in and out of jail, thugging, cripping, blooding, GDing, VLing, slanging, stealing, shooting, killing, eparing. Shit. That's, I mean, you have a very limited option of choices as far as the kind of quote unquote circle, the quote unquote clique that you get to, to be in when you growing up in a society like Memphis. But you up here looking out for numero uno because you know these niggas are fucked up. So you just leave them by the wayside. And they up there looking at you like you crazy. Like something wrong with you because you don't want to fuck with the savages. You don't want to hang out with the apes. Bearing witness every day when you go to school what the apes do. And now they eparing motherfuckers. They eparing bitches. To which I say, shit. Better him than me as far as the consequences that are coming for his ass. Now, I understand, and again, this also goes back to one of my talking points as far as the kind of niggas that y'all threw away. Now, don't get it twisted. I understand that most of these dorky, nerdy, Steve Urkel type guys really ain't the kind of dudes females be going for. I understand that. These Leonard Hofstadter, Howard Wolowitz type motherfuckers. They're skinny, they're scrawny, they're just natural born beta males. But let me just say this much, and this is something that, this is another thing that society goes out of its way to keep, just motherfuckers like that are just on the one bracket. Just because a motherfucker is good in the books doesn't necessarily mean that they're gonna be skinny and scrawny. Some of the most strongest, jacked, damn near, like basically benching 3 plates type motherfuckers are some of the, at the same time, some of the strongest physically strongest motherfuckers that I've met are some of the most brightest motherfuckers that I've met. Got PhDs in mathematics, PhDs in computer science. Well spoken. Articulate. And they jacking anywhere from 260 to 325. Now, I've never been that strong, but at my strongest, my max was not 3. Shit, I wish 3. No, the most I've ever pressed was 235. And yeah, that was fucking heavy. That was some heavy ass weight. And I ain't saying this for bragging rights, but I can jack 205. And like I said, I cook, I learn how to hunt, I speak some 40 plus languages. I'm getting myself in a position to get better qualifications. So in other words, you got the best, some of us, you got the best of both worlds. And even though this society, this Babylonian modern day Roman society goes out of its way to paint us in a bad light, you ain't gonna run into too many motherfuckers doing what I do. You just not. So it really just boils down to what the fuck y'all looking for. I mean, maybe y'all like a mechanic, maybe y'all like a plumber, maybe y'all like, but Pookie and Ray Ray, because like I said, I've seen females with the lowest common denominator of men. Homeless niggas, toothless niggas, bum ass niggas. And she dealing with them. That's one of the reasons why I stay out of it. Because I'm like, we just not going to figure this out. Not at least with this American female, we not. We just not going to, like, we ain't going to get this right. When you have a culture like, take this city for instance, where they doing all that, but looking at your ass like you crazy, like you the homeless bum, but you're dealing with the homeless bum up here calling, just projecting. And someone like me, I refuse to be in the same room with motherfuckers like that. It ain't gonna be me. And like I said, KS said this before. He said it's a very dangerous, and it's like his words are coming into fruition. He said that it's a dangerous position for a female, for a group of females, when their men give the fuck up on them. When they just throw their hands up and like I said, not pulling no Elliot Rodgers shit, not pulling no Steve Stevenson shit, just getting the fuck up, taking their cards, and walking away from the table. That's a dangerous position for you. And because you're so goddamn hard-headed, solipsistic, narcissistic, and entitled, you're just going to have to learn that lesson the hard way. So I guess we're going to have to be prepared in the future to see more incidents like this. of women just being attacked, whether they're getting robbed, epared, or all the above, killed, all the above. Children suffering the wrath of their foolish decisions, all the above. We ain't gonna be there. And y'all, and you know what y'all gonna do? Y'all gonna be looking at us, looking at me like I'm crazy, looking at me like I'm the one doing that shit. I'm like, you got you got the wrong guy. I'm a spectator in this football game. I'm not out on the fucking field. I'm not the fucking quarterback. I'm not the fucking wide receiver. I'm a spectator out in the bleachers throwing up go Cowboys, fuck the Broncos. Because I know I'm in Bronco country, which is exactly why I said that. Because I couldn't give a flying motherfucker about no motherfucking Broncos. I didn't grow up fucking with the Broncos like that, and even though I'm in Bronco country, I still don't see the reason to be putting on the blue and the orange. Hell, where I'm from, we don't even fuck with Tennessee like that. We don't fuck with orange, whether that's Tennessee Vols or whether that's Broncos. We don't fuck with orange, unless of course you talking about the Memphis Tigers. Yeah, that's some orange and blue for your ass. Yeah, the Memphis Tigers. Because that's what I grew up with. And truth be said, I don't even fuck with them like that. Because, you know, Memphis, you know, did a disservice to themselves. Got rid of the best of them. So much for thinkers, dreamers, and doers, right? I knew it was a facade. And when I see Denver, I see the same exact thing. And I see Denver slowly but surely making the same mistakes and soon to suffer the same fate that Memphis is currently suffering now. Because you got rid of your most talented. And I don't know if you fuckers realize, but it's your talented that bring resources to your community. Just like, you know, say here, when the Broncos won the Super Bowl a couple of years back, and you know the kind of money that brought to the city. But when you just dispose of your talent like that, and dispose, who, mind you, are indeed men, because there ain't no such thing as female Broncos. There ain't no female team or female version of the Denver Broncos. I'm sorry. Or any NFL team. When you dispose of your best, when you dispose of your warrior class, your protectors, your lions, this is what you get. This is what you'll get. You're going to get epared. You're going to get raped. You're going to get robbed and murdered by all the bandits out there. Because you have no veil of protection. Essentially, you're just fucked. So let me get off this vid before it goes into part 2. So I'll catch y'all on the next vid. I'm out. Hard head make a soft ass.